why are we only going for X-ray detection and no other radiation from these cosmic sources?
Okay, I could have answered, but then I will request Shankaran to answer.
Okay.
Switch on.
By very nature, black holes don't give any information now. That's why it is called black hole. It cannot give its own gravity to get out of it. So that is its own light also to get out of it. So there is no way to directly study the black holes. The only way to study black holes is when the black hole is tied to another object, which is an X-ray emitting object, and they together as a binary star. That is two stars together when they are there. The X-ray that is coming out of this X-ray emitting star is getting modified by the black hole. That how the X-ray gets modified by the black hole tells what is the characteristic of the black hole. That is how the black holes are going to be studied. Otherwise, there is no way of studying black holes. So this is a completely new science area. Around the world also a handful of people only are working in this domain area, and it is to the credit of our scientists in India that such a payload has been configured, realized, and now it is up in the orbit. We are all hoping for good science out of this.
Sir, good morning. Karthik here from PTA. You said the life of after the fourth stage is less. Can you define less? How is it 6 months this payload will be circulating? Number one, and number two is can you give us an update on Agri?
Okay, the life of an object in orbit is determined by its orbital height. When the orbital height is lower, it will encounter more drag. You know, atmosphere is there even up to that altitude, very thin atmosphere. So you will end up with a drag, very low drag, and slowly the altitude will decay. So if anything is below 350, its life will be less than few months. High altitudes 500 and above, so as not to cause any degradation significantly. The life will further depend upon various other parameters like mass, its area, etc. because the drag is a function of various things. So it is not a unique number for any object. Depending upon the plan area, the drag area, which is going to vary, you can, and similarly the propellant available to keep it in orbit, etc. But for this stage, we are not going to keep it in orbit. There is no way to maintain the orbit. We are only maintaining the orientation while experiments are taking place, so as to maximize the energy generation from solar panels. So it has a body mounted solar panel. So our experiments are going to last only less than a month. Within a month's time, all experiments objectives will be met. So after that, we can allow it to die. Means we can allow it to go away, and it will naturally enter and decay. It can be varying from 3 months to 6 months. Depending upon the type of drag that will encounter. So that we can measure in the initial 1 month, 2 month period, and we can make a better prediction. After that, you know the characteristic. Okay. Aditya L1 today is almost at the last phase of its entry. Currently, we have scheduled the final burn to ensure that it aligns with the L1 point, the halo orbit around the L1 point. It has to meet exactly those conditions. That condition will be achieved on 6th at around 4 p.m., 4:30 p.m. So at that time, we have to do some little bit of firing to make sure it is perfectly aligned. Otherwise, if you don't do it, it will jump and go on its way to farther distances. Towards sun only it will go because sun is a bigger body. So we have to do that operation on 6th to keep it there. So that is called the L1 insertion. Of course, it is not one event that is happening on 6th. It happened a previous event on 2nd of December also. We did some operations to bring it. It's not 2nd of December. We did that operation to bring it to the halo orbit. This is the final phase. So once that is done, it will be trapped in that halo orbit. But this trap is not permanent. We still have to do some firing occasionally to keep it there. So, and all payloads have been already tested and seen, everything works well. So once it is in L1, I think we can start the automatic verification of all parameters and start streaming the data on a continuous manner.
Sir, when will expose satellite data become available?
There is the payload will be switched on tomorrow itself, but there will be about a month's period of calibration and verification of the data. After that, the science data will be made available to the instrument designer first, and then it will come to public.
Sir, what are the ISRO's plan to explore the universe beyond the solar system?
Pardon, once again.
What are the explore to?
What are the?
What are the ISRO plan to explore the universe beyond the solar system?
Beyond solar system. That is precisely XPOSAT is going to do. In the solar system, you know, there are no black holes. But we have black holes in the Milky Way galaxy and also galaxies beyond it. So it is actually outside the solar system. So what we are observing are beyond solar system. Aditya, Astrosat. Astrosat has always been a satellite which has looked at beyond solar system. What it was looking at is the star formation, the neutron stars formation, as well as new nebulae it has discovered. So we have always been having some payloads outside observation outside solar system. But no missions to go outside the solar system, of course. We are sitting inside the solar system and looking outside. Yeah, that's all.
Congratulations, sir.
Yes.
Sir, NASA and ISRO joint venture scheme will be introduced this year, sir.
It is not a joint venture, it is a jointly built satellite. So we have a share of technology with no money in exchange. So we built the one payload called S-band radar, and the L-band radar was built by NASA. And the spacecraft part also is built by us and launched in GSLV. So that's the type of share. The NASA also supplied us the large antenna, which is an 18-meter deployable antenna, which is a very critical technology. So this is the type of satellite which we are jointly building, and this data will be shared between each of us.
Thank you, sir. Sir, last question. Sir, can you tell us about this fuel cell power system?
No, just from. One second.
Basically, the payload this time is about 269 kilos. So theoretically, is it possible to use SSLV for such kind of machines, because the payload is lesser than SSLV's maximum limit, and is it possible? That is asking.
Theoretically, it would have been possible, but you should have looked at the mission. It is a 6-degree inclination mission. So that means the trajectory is a different trajectory. If it was a planar mission, that means no inclination change, and in the azimuth it is directly firing, it could have been possible. You also would have observed that after the third stage there is a long coast. This coasting is very critical for achieving this condition of 6 degree. It has to reach equator. So this type of processes are not possible for SSLV in the current configuration. So it's the capabilities in a planar circular orbit. We can reach almost 400 kilo. No, sorry. Around 400 to 500 kilometer orbit is possible, but not this type of orbit. And this is possible only because of the PSLV's unique capability.
Okay. Sir, last question. Can you tell us about this fuel cell power system and side-based high energy cell?
Fuel cell and then?
The last one. Side-based demonstration of silicon-based high energy cells.
Okay. See, these two are new power sources that we want to demonstrate. Fuel cell, of course, you would have heard about it. You use hydrogen and oxygen and burn it to produce water. But there is no burning here. Instead, that it is reacting to generate power. So it's a stack of cells which produces almost 150 watt of power using flow of hydrogen and oxygen. So we have cylinders of hydrogen and oxygen inside this fuel cell, 2 cylinders, at around 70 bar pressure, and this gas will be fed into this fuel cell. Using the hydrogen and oxygen gas, we get power output, and this power will be measured, as well as a battery is kept there to charge it, and the result is water. Water comes out as the exhaust. So this water will be ejected outward in a periodic manner occasionally. So the use of fuel cell is typically in space stations. Generally in all space stations where hydrogen and oxygen is anyway there, you can produce water also. Water will come as a result of it. So there is a regenerative power is possible in fuel cells. Typically, when you build a space station, we need something like 20 kilowatt or maybe more. So, but right now we have put a very small power called 100 watt. So that is one unique part of it. This is one of our technology. We want to build it for future space station, etc. We are also working on terrestrial fuel cell system, which is already deployed. We already know, but this is the first time we are putting in space-based, which is much more critical in terms of material used, the safety, the control, etc., etc. On the other part, silicon, and you can answer. No, you go ahead. Yeah.
The second part is silicon graphite lithium-ion battery. We make different energy systems, and if you have more and more concentrated energy, that is, if you can pack more and more energy in a less volume, then on the mass as well as volume you get a lot of gain. So silicon graphite-based lithium-ion battery is such an experiment which will give a high energy density. So it's a independent payload with a connected load. So we are just measuring the performance in POEM. So it will be used in future missions depending upon performance. Thank you.
What is the question? Kulserapattanathil and the launch pad construction design is completed. So we are going to have a formal commencement of construction soon. We will announce the date. 24th. Poem is being scripted. That will happen once it reaches orbit.
Yeah. Right now the information what we got is it has completed one maneuver with each 350 by 650 km orbit we got, and now the second maneuver is also mostly completed. I am getting a call, so we would have reached the 350 by 350 km.
And it will then start writing the poem.
Thank you.
No, we will come back on it because today that is not the topic now. They are, as far as I understand, they are all getting ready. They are working very vigorously, planning to launch this year itself. Okay.
Last question. Last.
To elaborate that, I must tell you that we have been working with all possible suppliers. It is not that they are not willing to supply. It's not the correct statement. All of them are willing to supply. But it has to meet our specifications. Whatever they have is their specifications, their system for their module. So if you have to make it for ours, it requires a lot of re-engineering, modification, and it has its own cost implications and time also. So all these are not meeting our timelines, our cost estimates, etc. So we found that it is going to be a big challenge. Even if you wait for them, it is not going to meet our overall schedule. So this is the issue. I am not telling that none of them are willing to supply. Of course, if you are not successful in anything, it is going to delay the program. But that is not the way to look at it. How to make it meet our schedule is our goal. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.